The simple fact of the matter is that Gavin Newsom is struggling, and so he has decided that he is going to choose culture war above everything else. Now, his state has become a place that people flee. I know because I fled it with my company. The taxes are too high. The homeless population is enormous. Quality of living has gone down. And so now he's just trying to posture in the hopes that eventually Democrats will allow him to run for president. So he put out a statement yesterday. You can tell the difference between California and Florida. Right? He's running ads in Florida trying to proclaim that California is the land of freedom. Free for abortion is pretty much what he means by that. California is the land of homelessness and abortion. So that's exciting stuff from California Governor Gavin Newsom. He put out a statement yesterday telling Hollywood to come home. He is offering a massive new tax break for Hollywood, something like $1.6 billion in tax breaks for the companies to start producing in Hollywood again. And the fact that Hollywood stopped producing in Hollywood is a pretty good demonstration that Hollywood is horribly run in terms of like the government. Governor Gavin Newsom put out a statement saying, Hollywood, your values, your choice. California is the best place in America to create. If that were true, then people wouldn't be fleeing it. Hand over fist. For 100 years, he says, we've been the home for storytelling and storytellers. Together, we built a creative community that includes unrivaled cast, crews, craftspeople, infrastructure, and technology, robust tax credits, and other incentives. The best culture. Together, you didn't do anything, dude. Like nothing. Most importantly, we share your values. So now it's time to choose. Over the past several years, the legislatures of states like Georgia and Oklahoma have waged cruel assault on essential rights. Now, in the wake of Supreme Court's abhorrent decision overturning Roe v. Wade, those same states are quickly moving to strip reproductive freedom. As you know, their attacks are not occurring in secret. The harm they inflict is not the result of mere carelessness. On the contrary, they're carrying out these attacks brazenly and with the intent to cause pain in the communities they target, many of whom are essential to the success of your industry. Again, the emotivism of the left here is so astonishing. The idea here is that if you oppose the right-wing agenda, it's because the right wants to hurt you and is cruel and vicious. Not that they actually have arguments on abortion that disagree with your own. They're bad people. That's what Gavin Newsom is saying right there. Today, more than ever, he says, you have a responsibility to take stock of your values and those of your employees when doing business in those states. He's trying to values shame Hollywood. Good luck with that. That has not worked well in the past. California is a freedom state, says Gavin Newsom, who forced production to shut down in the state of California for a year. Freedom to tell your stories. Freedom to access the health services you need, including abortion. Freedom to love who you love and to ensure your LGBTQ plus minus divided by sign friends, family, and colleagues can proudly be who they are. Freedom from repressive state governments that want to tell you what to believe and threaten you with felonies if you don't toe their line. Does the man own a mirror? Repressive state governments that tell you what to believe? I mean, California is putting laws on the books that force your kindergartner to learn about gender theory. So I'm pretty sure that he is talking about California. Then he says, to those in power to make decisions about where to film, where to hire, where to open new offices, we in California say, walk the walk, choose freedom, choose creativity, choose California. So ironically, Gavin Newsom is now running against Hollywood. So the accusation was that Ron DeSantis was running against Disney when Disney decided to butt its nose into gender theory being taught to kindergartners. And Ron DeSantis is like, well, if you're going to do that, then, there are a bunch of special tax breaks that you guys get. You don't really need to be involved in this issue. That's just the way it works. Well, now Gavin Newsom is like, I'm going to cudgel you into bringing your business home, or I will attack you as insufficiently woke. Now, here's the problem. Hollywood gets to play a game here that they care more about their woke morality than they do about money. But it turns out that only applies when the economy is going gangbusters. When they start to experience business difficulties, they too are subject to the dictates of the market. It turns out half the American population does not agree with the wokeness of Hollywood, which is one reason you would imagine why Batgirl has now been scrapped. So Warner Brothers spent $90 million to make a movie of Batgirl. Batgirl in the comic books is Barbara Gordon, the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. She's paralyzed in the comics at a certain point, and then she's unparalyzed. In any case, she is Batgirl. And the movie was supposed to be sort of a woke bonanza, according to pretty much everybody who had seen it. The movie was apparently so bad that they just killed it. They were like, we're not even going to distribute it. We'll take the tax write-off. You know how bad a movie has to be to spend $90 million on it and then you don't even release it? That has to be a pretty damned terrible movie. Tom Leonard, writing for the Daily Mail, he says, Batgirl, an apparently woke big-budget film featuring a female version of the Caped Crusader, has been ignominiously scrapped, shocking the film world. Condemned as irredeemable by studio executives at Warner Brothers, it seems that not even a lengthy spell in the editing room could rescue it. Nor was it good enough to send straight to video, as used to be said of films too bad for the cinema. It may be the most expensive film ever made that will never see the light of day. The film had got as far as test screenings and was being slated for release in cinemas and on the U.S. streaming service HBO Max by the end of the year, but audience feedback was so awful that Warner Brothers has decided the reputational damage of releasing such a dud would be even worse than wasting the tens of millions of bucks it has already spent on it. It just didn't work, said an insider. Given the low standard of so much of the content on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other streaming services, this represents a jaw-dropping failure. Some have alleged the film may have been scrapped rather than released for tax purposes. Warner Brothers can now claim Batgirl as a tax write-off, helping it recoup some of its costs elsewhere. But that doesn't really account for why the film was so bad in the first place. There are certainly strong clues to suggest Batgirl was only the latest in a long and disastrous line of Hollywood films that have prioritized politically correct values over entertainment. The star of the film was a little-known Afro-Latina singer-actress named Leslie Grace. That was a risk because she never really made a big movie outside of In the Heights, which was a massive commercial flop. Apparently, Michael Keaton was going to reprise his role as Batman. J.K. Simmons was going to be Batgirl's father, Commissioner Gordon. That's a pretty good cast. The film was directed by Adil El-Arbi and Bilal Fallah, a young Moroccan Belgians best known for the TV series Miss Marvel, another sort of woke comic book. Batgirl's screenplay was by Christina Dodds Hodson, a British writer of ultra-feminist film Birds of Prey. Also, Batgirl featured a trans character, Barbara Gordon's flatmate, played by the trans actor Ivory Aquino. So apparently the film just sucked. And so they shelved it instead. So this is why the attempt to sort of shame everybody into coming back to Hollywood based on the morality of their ridiculous left-wing woke precepts, it's going to not happen because eventually the market speaks. And Gavin Newsom, again, driving production back to California by telling people that if you love abortion, you have to do your production in California. That's not going to work. It turns out the Warner Brothers would rather produce someplace where they don't have to pay exorbitant tax rates and deal with the unions in quite the same way. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Ben Shapiro Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date with all our future content.